It's 1880, and an explorer by the name of Maurice Vital Portman is the first person to voluntarily travel to an island inside the Bay of Bengal. Little did he know he had just entered an island that would later become home to one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world. Maurice and several others found nothing on this island other than abandoned huts and fires, but then they found 2 old people and 4 kids and thought that it was a great idea to put them on a boat and take them to a port. This genius idea killed the 2 old people because they got sick, and then Maurice decided to put the 4 kids, who are now sick as well, on the island with a pile of gifts. This obviously gave the islanders a very good idea of how kind and considerable Europeans and outsiders are. North Sentinel Island is a rather small 60 square kilometer park-like island located in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. It's home to what researchers believe is a large variety of birds, boards, turtles, and whatever the hell this is. Also, these giant demonic crab things also eat cats, which is one thing that we have in common. The reason why the researchers believe that there is a large variety of animals and don't have a lot of evidence is because the island is covered with a thick canopy of trees and lower-flying drones, and helicopters would get shot at by the natives of the island. Oh, and speaking of the natives, they are very, very aggressive toward outsiders, but we'll get to that later. The estimated number of the people on the island are 50 to 200. They survive by eating Indian boars and sea turtles and appear to be living a pretty good life on this island. So, about the islanders I mentioned from earlier. They aren't the stereotypical islanders who live out their lives surfing and drinking margaritas while watching the sunset. These guys were aggressive toward outsiders. Those that are unfortunate enough to get close to the island are met with a hail of arrows as a welcoming present. In 1867, an Indian merchant ship was wrecked. The people on the boat swam to the island and camped there for 3 days.
Okay, we made it to this weird secluded island in the middle of nowhere. Now what?
We just wait for the others to find us, I guess.
Okay.
The sailors on the ship were attacked by the Sentinelese, but fought back with sticks and stones and were eventually rescued by the British. And again, in 1896, a prisoner from a nearby penal colony swam to the island and was found days later, pierced by arrows. The suspected killers were, of course, the natives from the island. But not all the stories were bad. In 1967, an anthropologist by the name of... I'll try not to butcher this. Trilo Nath Pandit dropped off some gifts with local police. He visited the island more over the course of the next 20 or so years and made contact with the people in February 1991. The Sentinelese went out into the water and accepted the coconuts and other gifts offered by Trilo Nath Pandit and company, but did not allow him onto the island. The reason for why they went out into the water is still unknown. And in another incident, another anthropologist, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, just please put the name in the video. Okay, also made contact a month later in January 1991. She and other anthropologists went to the island in a boat and floated coconuts over to the natives. According to her, the natives waded into the water to retrieve the coconuts while holding out bows. These were some of the only incidents of the islanders leaving the island voluntarily to meet with outsiders peacefully. Even in more recent years, North Sentinel Island and its people are still a source of controversy. While they have had peaceful contact with outsiders in the past, the fact cannot still be said today and in more recent years when in 2006, 2 Indian fishermen that were illegally fishing drifted too close to the island and were killed by the Sentinelese people.
Hey, John, have you ever noticed that island over there?
No, you want to go check it out and see if there's any good fish over there?
Sure.
The Sentinelese people were not prosecuted because they were under the protection of the Indian government and probably because nobody could find a lawyer with balls big enough to get close to the island. The government even protects the island directly as the Indian Navy patrols the waters surrounding the island. But wait, there's more. In 2018, a missionary by the name of John Allen Chow went to North Sentinel Island to try and convert the Sentinelese. He got there by bribing fishermen to get him close to the island and then canoeing onto the island. His first visit was met with suspicion and hostility, and he quickly left. After his first encounter, you would think that he would not return to North Sentinel Island and take his missionary services elsewhere. But nope, he went right back to the island soon after. On the second visit, he tried speaking to the natives in Xhosa, which is a language spoken in South Africa. Why he spoke to in South African language to outsiders in an area 6,767 kilometers away from South Africa doesn't make sense, but I mean, you do you, John Allen Chow. He also tried singing worship songs with them, and they laughed at him. And when he tried to give them gifts, a boy shot a metal-tipped arrow at him and it pierced his Bible, and he left. The next day, he returned to the island again and disappeared. And then a day later, he was spotted by the fishermen who took him to the island. The fishermen saw that his body was being dragged by the natives on the beach, and his death was soon leaked to the public. This became the source of international controversy and briefly painted North Sentinel Island in the spotlight all over the world. Today, North Sentinel Island is being left alone to its own devices. News articles and internet debaters still argue over whether or not the island should be left alone, or if it still should be protected by the Indian government. Regardless, the island is still under the protection of the government, and news articles about it still pop up here and there. No one has been to the island since John Allen Chau, and the island is on many lists of forbidden or illegal places to visit. Thank you for watching.